Welcome to Regional Recovery Follow-Up Fundamentals, Module 3, Problem Solving, Referrals, and Advocacy. In this module, you will learn how to provide referrals to community assistance organizations and know when to advocate on a client's behalf with organizations and how to document referrals in CAS 2.0. You will also learn about when it is appropriate to share personally identifiable information and how to protect client confidentiality, as well as when to contact your supervisor or mentor. Throughout this module, we will use scenario questions to ensure you understand what you have just learned. You will have 10 seconds to think about the question and determine your answer. After 10 seconds, we'll show you the correct answer so you can compare your answer with ours. As you are speaking with your client and asking questions, you can continue to bridge the gap in the client's recovery with problem solving, providing referrals and information, and advocacy if requested. This occurs in every interaction with the client and can happen at any point in the conversation. Let's go back to Ms. Jones and her family. Now that they've had a few days to process everything since the fire, Ms. Jones realizes her child will need transportation to school while they are staying in the temporary location. She's not sure how to arrange for the transportation or if the school bus even comes that far. You can help her with this issue by problem solving. This can include sharing with her the school transportation office's number and providing advocacy if she needs support. You can also offer problem solving with the client if you hear a need for eyeglasses, school supplies, for used furniture, or a plan to shelter pets. You can help locate an insurance phone number for the client. Information can be very helpful. Another way to problem solve is to offer referrals. A referral is a documented recommendation to request assistance for a client from a community assistance partner agency or a government agency. Be prepared for your conversation with some referral options and information in mind for the most common recovery gaps. When you read the case, you should have looked at what, if any, referrals have been made so far. You should ask the client if those referrals have been helpful. Ms. Jones needs clothing for her family and a place to stay until they find a new apartment, and she also needs to replace some legal documents. The family has a dog that is in a boarding kennel that she learned about from a referral during the initial interview. You can offer Ms. Jones new referrals for clothing and information about replacing her legal documents with the Moving Forward booklet as a resource. This can be shared by email. Let's walk through a referral search in CAS 2.0 for clothing for Ms. Jones and her family. From the Referrals VSP tab, start by clicking the magnifying glass to begin a search in the Resource Directory. The Resource Directory is a national database embedded in CAS 2.0, where you can search and filter for the right resources to offer in your region. You can search the directory using a service search and a keyword like clothing. You can also search for a specific referral by selecting the category and then the referral name, or enter a referral ID number if you have it. Use the client zip code or other location information to ensure local resources. Then select Sort by Distance and choose the zip or other location information. Finally, click Search. A list of referral agencies will appear. Our Closet looks like a good option to meet this need. Click on the service name to view the eligibility requirements and service availability. To document this referral, click Select for the referral you are providing. The referral will appear in the Find and Record Community Assistance section. Click Submit to document this referral in the case record. Confirm that the case and referral was saved. Whenever you provide a referral to community assistance partners, government agencies, or another organization, it should be made verbally to the client. After discussing the referral options, provide the client with a disaster referral by email or the summary of client assistance when meeting with the client in person. The client may wish to let the organization know they are a Red Cross disaster client by showing the disaster referral form to the organization. This serves the same purpose on follow-up as the summary of client assistance did at the initial interview. Complete the fillable disaster referral, attach it, and send it by email to the client. Like all casework job tools, you can find it in the Casework and Recovery Planning Toolkit on the Exchange. You can provide more information by email. These include Disasters and Financial Planning, which is a guide for preparedness and recovery that is linked to the Casework and Recovery Planning Toolkit. This tool has an informative section on financial steps titled Recovering from a Disaster, as well as an insurance claims checklist. Red Cross Emergency Resource Library includes information for the client to prepare for disaster and for recovering after a disaster. Provide for the client's specific needs by email. Moving Forward booklet that includes preparedness and recovery information. If you are providing a referral to an agency that is not yet in the CAS resource directory, you can enter a temporary agency referral. Include a note in the case narrative identifying what service this agency can provide. A temporary agency referral will be visible for this one case only and will not be added to the resource directory. The next time you want to provide the referral for a different client, you will need to enter it again. Any organization that will be of use to many clients should be entered permanently in the CAS resource directory. Let your supervisor know about a new resource. Watch the 5-minute video in Edge, CAS Referral Resources for Clients, to remind yourself of referral steps. You can also refer clients to internal Red Cross services, including disaster health services or disaster mental health. These referrals are documented differently than other referrals. You will need to select Health Services Needed or Disaster Mental Health Needed, then follow your local procedures to contact DHS or DMH for the client. Never add confidential health, mental health, or legal information into CAS 2.0. Only mark Health Services Needed or Disaster Mental Health Needed in CAS. Let's review a few key do's and don'ts when providing referrals. Do individualize the referral by geographic area and your individual client's type of need. Remember, everyone's needs are different, so don't provide the same referrals to all or most clients. Do ask your mentor or supervisor about go-to organizations with helpful services. Have a short list with resource IDs at hand. Do explain the services available to the client, including what they offer, eligibility, where they are located, and when they are available. Do let your supervisor know if you learn how many clients an organization can handle, and if anything has changed like funding or services available. And don't expect the client to research the referral organization. Share the organization's details in writing by email whenever possible. Use the referral to solve the client's problem, not to complicate it. When you talk to a client, you learn personally identifiable information about the client and their family. This includes their names, address, dates of birth, identification details, contact information, and the Red Cross or FEMA assistance they received. Personally identifiable information belongs to the client. This information is entered in the client record in CAS 2.0 to provide client assistance and helps us manage the program. It may not be shared outside of Red Cross without client consent. We document client information in CAS 2.0 in order to open doors to assistance from Red Cross and from community partner organizations. To assist clients, we enter client information so we can activate client assistance cards and provide referrals to community resource organizations. When the client has consented, you may contact the organization to advocate for the client. We also collect information for Red Cross to use in aggregate or in group totals to monitor and manage the recovery program and to understand and to tell the story of who our clients are, their common features and diversity, and their needs. To protect client information, limit sharing of personally identifiable information to only what you, other caseworkers, or partners need in order to provide assistance or services to our clients. Each primary client makes documented choices about their consent to share their personal information. We protect all clients with all client consent to share information choices, including those who decline to share their information outside of Red Cross. Use group totals or case IDs, but avoid including client names, addresses, dates of birth, identification details, or contact information in reports or emails, both for internal Red Cross and for external audiences. If an organization asks for client information, ask yourself, is this a request for personally identifiable information? Did the client consent? Will sharing the information bring assistance to the client? If you are unsure, contact your supervisor. You can use the client information in CAS 2.0, Appropriate Use and Sharing Job tool as guidance to know when it is appropriate to share client information. You may need to get approval to share the client's information by contacting your chain of command. The best practice is to provide approved aggregate information whenever possible. Only share personally identifiable information when you have specific client consent in order to bring additional assistance to the client. Let's review some examples of how to handle the sharing and privacy of client information. Let's say a community organization requests client contact information to provide donated furniture to a disaster client. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is this a request for personally identifiable information? The answer is yes. Aggregate information totaled anonymously from many clients can't be used here. Does sharing it bring assistance to the client? The answer is yes. Sharing client information with this organization does bring more assistance to this client. Did the client consent? The client must consent. You may need specific consent. If so, use the disaster referral and document the referral in CAS 2.0. Now it's your turn to practice with a few more examples and the same 3 questions. We will show the same scenario on the following 2 slides, so you always have the details available. You received a scan of the client intake worksheet with the client information from a DAT responder and stored it in your personal email. This includes the client's identification details, names, dates of birth, addresses, and contact information, and assistance received. Is this personally identifiable information? Yes or no? The correct answer is yes. Personally identifiable information includes the client's identification details, names, dates of birth, addresses and contact information, and assistance received. Does sharing or saving this document in email bring assistance to client? Yes or no? The correct answer is no. Storing this information in your personal email or device does not help the client. Did the client consent to their information stored in an email? Yes or no? The correct answer is no. The client was not asked to consent to having their information stored in an email. Client information is only to be kept in a secure environment, CAS 2.0. In this situation, you should shred or delete any client information outside of CAS 2.0 and not leave client personally identifiable information in electronic or paper files anywhere, including home, car, office, phone or computer, or an email either sent or received. Here is another scenario and the same 3 questions. We will show the same scenario on the following 2 slides, so you always have the details available. You contact your supervisor about a case. You found a duplicate case, or you need an approval to correct the direct client assistance provided. If you send an email, you need to decide, do you mention the Jane Doe case on Maple Street in Newtown? Is this personally identifiable information? Yes or no? The correct answer is yes. The client's name and address are all personally identifiable information. Does sharing the client information by email bring assistance to the client? Yes or no? The answer is no. Using the case ID instead adds client privacy and is also more convenient for your supervisor. Did the client consent? Yes or no? The answer is no. Using the case ID instead adds client privacy and is also more convenient for your supervisor. The best practice is to work directly in CAS 2.0 to enter information, read the case and update it, and for follow-up caseworkers to use a redcross.org email. As you speak with your client, document any recovery gaps that could impact the client's ability to recover. Let's talk more about the recovery gaps a client may encounter. A client may need home repairs, such as repairs to the roof, or they may need to replace windows or a door. They may need new drywall or flooring following a flood. They may need supplies or labor to make repairs. Appliances needed could be a stove, water heater, refrigerator, microwave, or washer. A housing need is the most common need. It can include help with rent, security deposit, transitional housing, or beds. The client may need a medium or long-term place to live. Questions you can ask your client about their situation include: does landlord or property management have a vacant unit available? Is there a local database or search engine to locate new housing you can share with the client? Has client begun an insurance claim? Do they have relocation insurance? What is the client's ability to pay rent, mortgage going forward? Things you may coach your client on are: coach client to ask landlord to return security deposit and prorated rent if they need to move. Coach client on insurance basics, making a claim, renter's insurance. Insurance agent may have advice on securing the home after the disaster. Advise client on available housing programs for specific groups based on geography, income, family makeup, high-risk populations. Moving expenses can include rental trucks, movers, storage, or transportation. Occupational needs can include work uniforms or required shoes or boots, work tools, school uniforms, school books, supplies, and tools, or computer for work or school. You may also hear of an unusual recovery gap. This rare type of recovery gap might be approved by the RDO exception procedure. These are unique and specific to a particular client situation. When the client cannot meet the recovery gap on their own, move to the Follow-up tab and document the client's recovery gap. The recovery gap is one of the criteria for Supplemental Direct Client Assistance qualification that we will review in the next module. Mr. Allen's furniture was damaged by water and smoke. Some of it may be cleaned and other pieces need to be replaced. He is not able to afford all new furniture. What referral suggestions could you provide? Select all that apply. Refer Mr. Allen to the Salvation Army for used furniture. Provide Mr. Allen with the address of your favorite local furniture stores. Connect Mr. Allen with the local furniture ministry. Talk to Mr. Allen about his insurance benefits. The correct answers are to refer Mr. Allen to an organization like the Salvation Army for used furniture. Connect Mr. Allen with a local furniture ministry, and talk to Mr. Allen about his insurance benefits. Another way you can problem solve with your client is through advocacy. You may, at a client's request, talk to another organization on the client's behalf. For example, you may speak with a landlord or insurance agency to find your client more services or assistance. This support is called advocacy. Before you have any conversations on their behalf, the client must choose Client Consent to Share Info General. This was typically documented during the initial interview. Check it. The client can add or change a consent to share client information choice while talking with you. Document any changes in CAS. Include the client in three-way conversation when possible, or immediately inform the client of the conversation on the phone or by email. Always note the outcome of the advocacy in the narrative in CAS 2.0. Sometimes the caseworker just making the advocacy call can make all the difference. For instance, the client is unable to get through to the right person, but when you call, the door opens. You may also be able to reach someone on a Sunday, but the client is not. Your call from Red Cross can be enough to get things moving. Now, let's walk through a scenario where we consider advocating on her behalf. Ms. Jones is worried about the long-term effects of the damage in her apartment on her young children. She tells you she does not want to live there any longer. She has not asked you to take any action at this point, but she is thinking about moving, and you are concerned her landlord won't return her deposit. Should you proceed with calling her landlord to advocate for the deposit return? Yes or no? The correct answer is no. Ms. Jones needs to ask you to advocate on her behalf before you can take action. You also need to check her client consent to share information choices and document the request in her client record. Contact your supervisor when you find a duplicate case. You need approval for correct DCA or for supplemental DCA, or if you were unsure about a request to share client information. If there are no resources available, referrals, information, or ability to provide advocacy for your client, talk to your supervisor, as they may be able to find additional support or new resources to fill the gap. Contact your supervisor for feedback on your work, suggestions for training opportunities, if interested in a promotion, and to change your shift assignment. You will be assigned to a mentor. Your mentor is an experienced coworker or a supervisor who you can turn to for support and who gives you feedback and helpful tips for your work. Contact your mentor after speaking with your client when you need advice about local community assistance organizations. You need to learn how to contact the Disaster Health Services or Disaster Mental Health team to assist the client. Your client is frustrated or dissatisfied, and you'd like to talk about what support or information you can offer the client. And you've been assisting a client with many challenges, and you'd like some support yourself. Great job! This concludes Module 3, Problem Solving, Referrals, and Advocacy. In this module, you learned how to provide referrals to community assistance organizations and know when to advocate on a client's behalf with organizations and how to document referrals in CAS 2.0. You also learned about when it is appropriate to share personally identifiable information and how to protect client confidentiality, as well as when to contact your supervisor or mentor. You are now ready for Module 4, Supplemental DCA Qualifications and RDO Exceptions, where you will learn how to assess need and qualification for Supplemental Direct Client Assistance and the purpose of an RDO exception approval, when it is needed, and the approval procedures. The following slide contains photo credits.